Hey now, and how are you doing? Want to welcome you to the next episode of Peace, Love, and Bring a Bat. Today, my friend Brian, man, Brian and I have known each other for a couple of years. We've
Yeah.
we've worked together, and I can't wait to connect. And I can't wait to you to hear about Brian. Brian does so many different things. How you doing, my friend?
Man, I've never been better. I'm actually I came back into the old house. We just moved out of here into a new place, but I came back to grab a couple last minute things. And so I'm saying all that to say I'm in a little bit of a transition in the best way possible, man.
Nice.
We're
Yeah,
making
you get
moves
into a
here,
new
you know?
house. That's awesome.
Yep. 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 Making some
Congratulations.
moves in the company, making companies, the nonprofit, and move the family into a better home, better fit for all of us a few weeks ago. So yeah, man, it's exciting. It's an exciting chapter.
All right, awesome. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then you and I can go get a little deeper.
Yeah, man, I'd love to. So for those of you that don't know me or haven't have had the opportunity to speak to me, my name is Brian Kurian. I am the owner of Brian Kurian's Business Services. I'm also one of the co-owners of a company called Clinico Strategies, and I'm the vice president for what I think is a really cool nonprofit organization called Athlete, like after athletics, after athlete. Um, and we do a lot of things. So between the two companies, we offer premium ghostwriting. We ghostwrite thought leadership books, memoirs, and autobiographies, even fiction novels for some of our indie authors. I do a lot with business consulting, sales training, teaching people how to use their book as a tool to grow their business, land speaking gigs, get on podcasts, build their brand, etc. Yeah, there's so much we do, but that's some of the gist of it. And then in the nonprofit, we offer professional development and life skills training to current and former athletes so that they can have an easier time navigating the next chapter of their life post sports.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, because I know when we were talking, you really were only doing business consulting and very good business consulting. So
Thank
not,
you.
not
Thank you.
just right. There's a lot of people out there, and you're definitely different than others. And
Thank you, sir.
this ghostwriting I
Mhm.
really love because, as you know, I'm a ghostwriter, and I love
Yep.
that aspect of the business, and it really aligned with what you were doing because you were talking about the messaging
Yeah.
originally, and it's
Yeah.
just you know writing books are really just an extension of what a business should do, and it's a way to communicate differently with your clients.
Yeah, and I think, look, man, I'm such a big reader myself. When I first started out, so again, for those in your audience who don't know, I've actually my original background was in sales. I worked for various corporate American companies for a long time. Gosh, probably somewhere 20 plus years or so. But along the way, I also worked at 7 different startup companies too. At some of those places, I was one of the very first salespeople that they were able to hire, and so I've kind of done it all when it comes to sales. I've done the cold calling, cold emailing, booking the demo, then the proposal negotiation. Doing the actual demo, the follow up, closing the deal, being the sales manager, having my own team. I climbed the corporate ladder like a good little boy because I did it for so long. I each
Yeah.
time they kicked me down, I climbed up climbed up the rung, as I know you have too as well, David, over your career. But yeah, I got all the way up to an executive as an inside sales manager for an IT staffing and IT consulting company. Pinnacle of my career. It was very much a dream job for me. 6-figure job, amazing coworkers, amazing culture, wonderful place. But during that time, I ended up dealing with you know this, but I ended up dealing with 3 straight layoffs from 3 different companies,
Yeah.
including that one. That one ended up being my second layoff. All of that happened to me in about a 2.5 year time frame. So for me being a lunatic, 4 days after layoff number 3, I launched my business, and I said, "The hell with it. I can just do this myself." And so here I am. That's me in a nutshell. Mhm.
Yeah, but there's so much to learn about that. You know, um, and that's what we really want to talk about is. But let's take a step back, because I also know that your success was self-made in a lot of ways. But
Sure.
from your family of origin, right? Your mom and dad, they also were supportive in some ways, and some ways less supportive. But
Sure.
and that was something that you learned as an adult what you needed to do, and that's really what I'm talking about. I'm not here to, talk bad.
Yeah. My parents, look, man, you know this about me because we got to know each other so well over the last couple of years, especially in the early days when we got to work together and collaborate. Um, I give my parents a ton of credit. When I was growing up, our culture, um, heritage, our roots, we're South Indian, and so that was very much ingrained in me of
Sure.
where we came from, who we are, our family values, our core values, integrity, honesty, trying to do the right thing. Accountability was a big one for my dad. Huge pillar of him and how he raised me. And so a lot of these things that as a kid you take for granted, you just kind of feel like, well, that's probably how everybody's parents are.
Mm.
You get a little older, you get around enough people, which being in sales, I've probably met thousands of different people, and their kids and some of their relatives and some of their business partners and some of their employees and on and on and on. And I very quickly realized, okay, I think I was one of the lucky ones. I'm one of the fortunate ones, man, because um, a lot of what my parents taught me and ingrained in me, these are things that I like to think I've embodied, and it's how I operate my businesses. The way I treat my employees, I treat my business partners, I treat my clients, everything a certain way. I believe it's the right way to do business. It's my humble opinion. It's worked out pretty well for me. People seem to be happy being in my life and working with me and doing business with me. So, again, I give my parents a lot of that credit. I didn't just magically show up into the world being a
Yeah, right.
good person.
And it's the things that we learn.
Mm-hmm.
And and you and I've talked about it. It really is. Our parents are sometimes they're always, hopefully our biggest supporters. But
Sure.
like I always say, for my dad, I'll pick on
Yeah.
my dad. You know, the things he was teaching me were good. His methods, not so much. Um,
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
but it makes us do it because, again, after he's passed, he's gotten a lot smarter. In terms of the things. But I
Sure.
mean, your parents have got you into success. You don't get to,
Mhm.
executive positions in companies just by, hey, being a good guy.
Sure.
Brian
Sure.
is a good guy. So anybody who doesn't know Brian's a very good guy,
Thank
but
you.
he's also extremely smart. He knows how to do it. He has that push. Because that also goes back to you. Like you said, you are a little different.
Yeah.
What makes
Yeah.
you different?
What an excellent question. Thank you for asking that. I think there's probably a few different things that make me different, but I think if I really had to lean into one thing specifically, I would say that one of the things that sets me apart and makes me different in the best way possible is that I am very much obsessed with over delivering
Mhm.
for my clients at every possible opportunity. And I definitely don't wait for the opportunity to present itself. I am very much um, a hunter, so to speak, and very aggressive with seeking out those types of opportunities where I can have the chance, just the chance, to try to do something a little bit extra, offer a little bit more value, um, introduce them to potentially a powerful connection, or
Mm.
even just a good person, that can shine some light into their life. Anything, something, anything, right? I'm obsessed by that. I'm obsessed with that. My dad was really big on there were no good jobs, and I'm proud of you. And thanks
Yeah.
for doing that. Just for barely meeting the expectation, you're not getting any of that, right? But I didn't always agree with it, but he would make you fight to try to do a little bit more, so that maybe, just maybe, he would see it and say, okay, just something, some ounce of acknowledgement to show, you know what, okay, I saw that you tried a little harder. I
Mhm.
saw that you pushed yourself. Okay, let's see if you can do it again. Right? And so let's see if you can do it again and be consistent. Oh man, that's a big part of who I became,
Yeah. And I know that, and you can see. So those who are going to watch the video on YouTube can see the enthusiasm behind what you're saying, and I love that.
Yeah,
And that's one of the things that I've always liked your passion. I mean, similar to me, I wear my heart on my sleeve.
of
You know,
course.
and that's it's a strength.
Yeah,
And so, tell me a little bit how you I guess expanded to this ghostwriting. I know at one
yeah.
point you and I were talking about some clients and things like that, and
Mhm.
I guess you fully embraced the ghostwriting
Yeah.
aspects.
Yeah, I about gosh, maybe it was about
Are you doing the ghostwriting? Are you doing the writing?
yeah, so in the early it's evolved, right? So in the early days, it was very much me, myself, and I.
Yep.
So landing the client through networking, sales calls, what have you, doing the strategy calls, right, doing all the ghostwriting, editing, formatting, everything, proofreading, everything. Now I have a top-notch assistant that I've been training on developmental editing, editorial work. She's excellent. We've been training her for several months, and she's picked it up very quickly. And now I'm slowly but surely getting her trained on ghostwriting as well. I used to have for the last about 6 months, I had a full-time ghostwriter to help me,
Mhm.
just because the business was exploding in the ghostwriting
That's
arm,
awesome. I'm so
especially.
happy
So,
for you, really.
thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, we're look, man. I'm one of the lucky ones. I keep using the word luck. I know it's not luck, but I'm
Yeah, it's
just,
not luck. It's you worked for it. You know,
yeah. Mm,
it's seeing that there's a need and
mhm.
knowing that you were able to fit into that that piece.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the
Yeah, and I was gonna say about 7 years. It's so funny how everything evolved, man. About 7 years ago, I think it was about 7 years ago. I was telling my wife, I think I got a book in me, and I was sharing some of my ideas about my sales career, my parents, my culture, etc. And she's like, I don't, well, there's a lot there, I think, but that would be a much better blog than it would a book because these are so many different things
right.
you're touching on, right? It would be hard to fit it all into a singular book. And I said, a blog? Jesus, what the hell is a blog? Ignorant me. I didn't even know what a blog was, dude.
Yeah.
And what the hell is a blog? And so I go down the rabbit hole, go on the intrawebs, right? And I literally Googling what is a blog? How do I create one? What's the point? What's the
Mhm.
purpose? What are the pros and cons of having a blog? And I stumbled on medium.com along with a couple other platforms. And Medium seemed like the best fit for me. And I just started writing, dude. And it was god awful. It was terrible. The writing was terrible,
Yep.
right? Because I didn't know the first thing about it. I just wanted to see if I could do it. And nobody would read my writing besides one of my friends and my wife, God bless her, just to support me. And I said, you know what? I want to get better at this. This is fun. I'm actually enjoying this, but I suck at it. Just like with anything, right? I've done sales for forever and a day. So naturally, I like to think I'm pretty good at that. Um, Writing, not so much. No practice. Need to
Yep.
practice, right? Just with anything in life. And so started me being me. I started writing every day, publishing 4, 5, 6 blog posts a week.
Mhm.
Get,
Well, you got to get
sharpening the
those
knife.
10,000 hours, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to start doing it, and getting into the details and things like that. It's that's one of those things you have to do.
It's yeah, man. And the thing is, like, we're using words like have. But the truth is, right? You and I both know this really well. We don't have to do anything.
Correct.
Nobody, nope.
You get to do it.
We get to do it, right? And you get to do it if you want to do it. I genuinely wanted to, right? And so from there, it just exploded, man. Like I just fell in love with writing, expressing myself in that type of way. I launched an online publication with a writing colleague of mine that I met through Medium. I started doing editorial work for free. I just wanted to learn how to do it. I never did it before. So any writer that would come on board, a lot of them I would volunteer. Hey, can I peer edit your blog post? Can I offer some feedback? No charge. I just want to learn how to do this thing. And I got really good at it after several months because I was getting the hours, right? I was getting the reps.
Yep.
And a few of them private messaged me and said, man, I really love your feedback. It's really improved the overall quality of the piece. Do you offer any type of writing coaching? I said, what the hell is writing coaching? Yeah.
Right.
And so
And
you figure it out,
right.
right?
Right. The sales guy and you was like, yeah, we do that just by coincidence. We're
Just
opening a
by
new.
coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, full disclosure.
Right. That's what you do is great sales, right?
Yeah,
Well,
dude,
what do you
full.
you ask the client, what do you think? Oh yeah, I think you need to have green walls. Oh, just by coincidence, I'm going out to buy the paint for green walls, and then you'll have it. Yeah, 100, right.
Step right here into my green room. Come on in. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
Now, full disclosure, I'm a very transparent, I like to think I'm a very honest person. I told the first handful of them, hey, never did writing coaching before. I'm doing this because you asked me.
Mhm.
I will learn how to do it very well. Just be patient with me. I
Right.
will learn. Okay. So I want to kill this for you. So I'll figure it out. And so I figured it out. Got some reps in, worked with them, and then before you know, I launched a writing coaching business. Because why the hell not? And yeah, at any given time, I would have between roughly about 10 to 20 clients. I
Wow.
did that for several months. It actually, the money that I made from the writing coaching business helped pay for a big chunk of my wedding.
Nice.
So, it's the entrepreneur in me, man.
Well,
I got into freelance writing. I got a part-time job as a copywriting coach, several months later at a high-ticket business coaching company. Then they promoted me up to master coach. And then they got me, because originally I came in for copywriting coaching. They said, hey, can you start helping us, like, can you ghostwrite some of the ebooks for the clients, for them and for our company? So training materials,
right.
documents, help us with stuff. I was like, ghostwriting. Okay.
No, you
Didn't know what
start
it was.
learning, right? You research and boom,
Learn it.
Yep.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I can learn. I'm not an idiot. I can
Yeah.
learn.
Right.
And then they loved it. And then they said, can you start ghostwriting the blog post for the website? We've really fallen behind because the business has gotten so much larger. It's just two owners here. We don't have any writers on the team. Um, Ghostwriting blog posts. Jesus, how do you do that? No, I'll figure it out. And I just asked, I was like, so what are you hoping for with the blog post? Oh, like we want the clients to really feel like we wrote them,
Right.
our voice, our
Yep.
personality. You're starting to get to know us really well because you've had all these meetings with us and you're seeing our vision, our dreams.
Yep.
You see how we talk and think. We trust you to do it. I was like, that's exact. I can do that. I can do that. And so you figure it out. I started doing a blog post a week because they started asking me to. So sharpening the knife, right?
Yep.
Getting the skills. And here we are, boys and girls. This is how it happens, right? I sometimes I say, well, more often than not, I say yes before I even know what you're talking
100%.
about,
100%. Give it to
and then I
Mikey.
figure it out.
He'll eat anything. I
Yeah.
mean, that's really, what we do. I mean, really. So since we spoke, I'm no longer working at Pfizer. So
Yep.
it's been a couple of years. So I don't know when we, exactly, but
Yeah.
you know, my friend was like, "Hey, Dave, I really could use help with my company. Do you want to be the COO?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's go." I didn't know I could do that until I could do that.
Boom.
I thought I had the skill set, and I did. Until really until about a month ago,
Yeah.
when I got sick.
Yeah.
My little hiccup.
Yeah.
So everybody take care of yourself. Make sure, Brian, you if you don't, go to take care of yourself. Okay.
Yep.
We
Yep.
don't know. I didn't know anything. I wasn't feeling any symptoms. So for those who don't know, depending on which podcast you're listening to, I had a heart scare. I was just overweight. I thought, I'm fat. Okay, guilty. Um, that I just needed to work out. So I wanted to work out. I heard Good Morning America.
Mm.
Sam Champion complained about, and he's in somebody in great shape.
Hmm.
He had the same thing. He was just winded when he worked out, but
Wow.
they found out, and he had blockages, and he went. The part of the story is he went for some stents, and I'm
Wow.
like, man, I'm not getting out of bed today until I get a cardiologist. So I googled cardiology, Massapequa, where I live, and my
Wow.
health insurance guy popped up at a 3 o'clock appointment.
Wow.
2 weeks later than that, I'm having my first stent. Congratulations, Dave. But what I'm talking about it is I want you to check. You don't know what you don't know. And
Yeah.
that goes back to the writing. You
Yeah.
have to investigate. That's why when I went to the hospital, they're telling me you have to change your diet. Yeah, I know that already. Like once you talk to me about a heart, this isn't like, well, you might not be able to be a major league baseball player anymore and your knee's gone. Okay,
Yeah.
great, no problem. I can still do other things, but without a heart, you're done, right?
It's done.
Out of all the things you need, that's one of those things.
Yeah.
Ironically, everybody always goes, "Man, you got a big heart." Thankfully, the rest of my heart is really healthy.
Okay.
Two areas that I'm in, and when the doctors and I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it. I hear you, and they go, no, you have to listen to me. and this is where I'm going with the story, is that I'm like, no, no. Once you were in my heart, and I saw it because I was awake for the angioplasty,
Wow.
there's nothing that you're going to tell me that I need to take care of myself. Like, I'm not going to be like, all right, now I'm going to go do whatever I want. I can now have my Big Macs again. No, like I have got rid of everything in my house. And,
Mm,
sometimes you have to do that. You need that wake up call. And just because I care about you, Brian, and I care about your family, just, if you don't get checked out, I didn't get checked out. Again, I'm 57. I'm older than you, but
sure.
get checked out. If you could do that. But to go back for that little
For
commercial,
sure. Yeah.
but it really is your focus. When you're on your focus, I can learn
Mhm.
anything.
Yeah,
It might take me longer to go into, but my background was in intellectual property. I
that's right.
worked
Yeah.
on patents and things like that. I didn't understand it, and I eventually learned it. They taught us, you know, kindergarten patent work.
Yep.
I didn't have to do that. That wasn't part of my job, but to understand it, that's why when they gave me Lipitor, I was like, "You don't know. I'm the guy who helped defend Lipitor. I knew the
Mm,
I knew the inventors of Lipitor, and
mm,
I interviewed them. So it's you know you don't know what skill set you bring in
mm.
to then become the expert in your field, and you're
Yeah.
becoming yeah
Yeah. Thank you, David. No, so inspirational, man. I think, I've seen, not to give you a sob story, but I just think I think it's important to say it. David, I have lost count of how many people I have met or been friends with, or just been an acquaintance of, or just known for through a friend or whatever, who were much, much more intellectually smarter than I am.
mm,
Bigger, stronger, faster. Parents had more money. Um, Parents had, their relatives had more money. Their grandparents had more money, better resources, better connections, better everything, right? And the amount of times that I've seen people stay in their comfort zone, which is the human nature.
yep
We want to protect ourselves. I know that, and I'm not saying this to bash anyone, but I could just see the amount of times they would say, "No, no, no, that's not for me. I'm not smart enough. No, no, I don't know how to do that, so I'm not going to look at that. I'm not going to go here. I'm not going to enter that room. I'm not going to talk to this person. I'm not going to do that. No, 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 no," and just kind of stay in their lane, quote unquote. And then you have someone like me who was very used to people saying, "Man, you're not going to amount to much. You're a C student. You're very average at school. I'm 5'3", right? I'm not very big. I'm not overly, strong. Um, my parents didn't have a lot of money when we were growing up. We always
right right
we we
right.
we,
But
we,
it's blue
we
collar
always had
stuff.
enough.
Right
Yeah,
right
yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We because of my parents' hard work, we always had everything we needed, and I'm very grateful. We always had each other, and so, but there wasn't a lot of extras,
Mhm.
right? There wasn't a lot of the extra
Yep.
stuff, and so me being me, look, man, if it was scary, a lot of times I welcomed it. Even if I'd fall flat on my face, that's kind of what a lot of people expected out of me, anyways, right?
Yep.
And so it's kind of like, if it didn't work out, yeah, well, what are you going to do? Learn from it,
Right.
right? And so I told you the blog thing, the ghostwriting thing, my first sales job. My God, David, when I was 17, I was a cashier at CompUSA selling extended warranties on the computers, laptops, printers, etc., the
Yep.
tech products, the electronics. I got really good at doing that after months of training and conversations and meetings and etc. Got promoted up to the sales team, so became finally a real salesperson at the age of 18. And one of my first questions, I'll never forget it, to my boss was when he was explaining commissions, and we were going over the pay tiers,
Mhm.
and the rate card and commission cards and stuff. It's like, my God, if I hit if I hit these numbers, I, I will earn this much extra on my check.
Mhm.
In addition to
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
hourly. And he goes, "Yeah, man." And I said, hmm, "This is how fucked up it is." Then I ask, "And no one's going to take it from me, right?"
Right.
And he just kind of looked at me. He knew some of the stuff I had gone through, and he goes, "Yeah, man, you you get rrewarded for working
Doing a
hard
good
and being a
job. Yep.
and being a good person and performing. Welcome to sales. No one is going to take it from you." And I said, I can fucking do this, dude.
Yep.
And so I actively sought feedback, constructive criticism at every opportunity. How can I get better? What did I do wrong? How can I fix it? What did you think of this last interaction? Because, man, if you're not going to take it from me, I will work my face off. I'll do
Yep.
everything you ask me to do and then some, right? 20 years later, I'm still in the sales game, man, because I fell in love with it, you know?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Okay. And I know your time's a little limited, so I want to be respectful of that.
Yeah. I can hang out for an extra 5 to 10 minutes, man. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So what I'd love to do is walk into the magic garden.
Okay.
And I'd love you to give us one piece of advice that you might want somebody to grow from through that.
One piece of advice. Oh, man. I, if I may be so bold, I think the best things that have happened to me tended to come from absolutely terrifying risks that I
Mm,
took betting on myself. One of the first ones being when I decided against my parents' wishes to go away for college for my undergrad. I went away to Central Michigan University. It was a 2.5 hour drive away from my parents. I only had like one friend there. A couple people I kind of knew in junior high were also going to the school. I didn't know anybody else. My friend that I knew, Mike, he was going to be my roommate. It was terrifying. I was going to be on my own.
yep.
Did it anyways. It was awesome. It was awesome. I had probably one of the coolest college experiences you could ever have, in my humble opinion. Another time was when I relocated for my job after college. I was working at Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Relocated up to Traverse City. Worked up there for a year. I knew 2 old friends from college who were living there. That was it. My girlfriend was also going to be there for the summer for her summer internship. I didn't know anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know the guy I was going to be living with. I never met him before. We met on
Mm.
Facebook, right? Terrifying. What if they don't like me? What if it doesn't work out? What if this ends up being a crappy summer? I don't know anybody. I don't know these people, right? When I moved to Wilmington, North Carolina, I quit my job. I packed my car with all my stuff that would fit in there. Chased my dream of opening a brewery with a couple of my friends. Crashed on my buddy's couch for a couple of months in his tiny little one-bedroom apartment. These were not exciting risks. These were not like, oh my God, I can't wait to do it. I'm going to kill it there. It was very much, this is what I
It
need
was
to
a
do.
risk well. When I
Yeah.
talk about things, I talk about risking well.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just jumping off a cliff. It's risking well and
Yeah.
making those risks.
Yeah. It's to me, the payoff was much greater than the potential pain, even though the potential pain
Yep.
would have been pretty significant. I just know every time I did something like that, I would just reflect on the last time. Say, man, when I went away to college, that was pretty damn cool. I'm proud of myself. Look at who I got to become.
Yep.
Look at what I got to do and the people I met. When Traverse City came, I said, I just did this in college just a couple of years ago. And when I went to Wilmington, just a couple of years ago, I did this shit in Traverse City. Look how wonderful that year was. I can do it again, right? And
Yep.
same thing with the businesses, right? When the jobs went away, so I'm not doing this again. It was terrifying. It was not something where I was like, I'm going to do so great. I know so much about entrepreneurship. No, dude, I just knew what the other side of it was.
That's awesome.
And I didn't want to go through that door again.
Right.
That's all. So here we are.
How can people find you to work with you?
Yeah, man. So I'm everywhere. You can look me up on LinkedIn, Brian Kurian, Brian. Last name's Kurian, Kurian. My website is briankuriansbusinessservices.com. I'm also on Instagram. You can look at Brian Kurian there. I'm on Facebook. Yeah, you can find me in all those places. And very much if you have a book in you, or you need some help with your sales strategy, marketing strategy, etc., need some training for your sales team members, any of that stuff. We're really good at what we do with the premium ghostwriting, the publishing, the business consulting, coaching, all of that. So I've worked very hard between the two companies and the nonprofit to build a terrific ecosystem that can support our entrepreneurs, our industry experts, our athletes at every step of the way. You're not going to get passed off to 10 different people. We're very serious about that, and we take really good care of our people, as you know. So, yeah, we'd love to work with you if you'll give us a chance.
All right. Well, I can't wait to talk to you a little bit more. I know we're both a little crunched on time.
Yeah, it's
So,
okay.
but thanks so much, Brian, for coming in and talking. We definitely need to catch up a little bit more. I'd love to hear
100%.
more how we can support each other a little bit.
100%.
But definitely thank you so much.
Yeah,
And
man.
for everybody else, always going to wish you some peace and love in your life. And when you bring a bat, remember, bring some awesome thoughts and hit your sweet spot. Thanks so much.
Thanks, man.